Well, thank you very much for taking the time from your campaign to talk to our audience, Kari.
Well, it's an important audience. It's really a huge makeup of Arizona's population. The Hispanic people of Arizona are some of the hardest working, most incredible Arizonans, and I care deeply about them as I do all Arizonans.
Absolutely, absolutely. We just watched your Senate race in the debate, and we're very concerned with the the things that Ruben Gallego is doing, like putting a picture out with his own baby daughter advocating for abortion. How is that? How does it speak about his character?
Well, I think, people make decisions when it comes to how they're going to campaign and if they're going to use their kids in ads and things like that. And so that's just a personal decision that he has made. My kids are older, they're in their 20s now, and occasionally they show up and do events with me, but very rarely. They have their own life. And I'm in this because of our kids. I'm in this because of our kids, all kids. I don't care if you've got Democrat parents or Republican parents, I want to protect our children. And right now they're not protected. We've got a wide open border. We know for a fact that convicted criminals are coming in, and we're allowing them in unvetted. We know that the crime is skyrocketing on our streets. That's affecting our kids. Moms and dads don't feel comfortable anymore letting their kids go play in the front yard. They're too worried about the crime. And we also know that economically families are struggling, and that means our kids are struggling. Moms and dads are having a hard time buying school supplies, putting food on the table. I'm meeting with people who, for the first time in their lives, are having to go to food banks and ask for help. So all of Ruben Gallego's policies are affecting us. They're actually hurting all of our kids, including his own children. It's hurting everybody when you're voting to have a wide open border, when you're voting to take our federal tax dollars and support sanctuary cities, when he's voted to see to it that the millions of people who've invaded our country in the last 3.5 years are going to get citizenship and the ability to vote. He's voted for every single piece of policy Kamala Harris has pushed and Joe Biden 100% of the time. And we know what that's done to our economy. Nothing's affordable anymore. They can throw out as many phony numbers as they want and try to say, oh, everything's fine. The economy's fine. But we're feeling it. Everything costs more money. And Arizona's not affordable anymore.
Absolutely. We come from countries where tyrannies are, like emboldened. Now we see the DOJ and the Biden-Harris administration going after their political opponents. What do you think? We look more and more like Cuba, Venezuela, or Nicaragua?
That's right. It's really scary, isn't it? I mean, I never thought I would see our own government weaponized against us. They're weaponizing it against people who don't support the Kamala Harris regime, to be honest. Look at what President Donald Trump has had to go through. All of these phony, bogus indictments, and they're trying to, take his business and make his life absolutely a living hell. And they're doing the same to me. I'm the victim of lawfare as well. I think anybody who's really standing up and fighting and a threat to this really corrupt system, they're going to try to take down any means necessary, whether it means the government coming after you, private entities coming after you with lawfare, whether it means they're running smear campaigns against you. We've seen that with President Trump. 8, 9 years now, a smear campaign at the hands of the fake news media trying to bring him down because he's such a threat to this corrupt system. So we need to turn it around. And our Hispanic voters understand it more than anyone. Most of them, either they came from a country that has seen that kind of tyrant behavior, or their ancestors, their grandparents, their great-grandparents have. So they understand when they're seeing the signs that we're seeing here in America. This is why we're seeing a massive movement of Hispanic voters from the Democrat Party over to the America First, President Trump-led Republican Party. And we welcome everybody, we really do. If you want secure borders, we welcome you into the America First movement. If you want safe streets, we welcome you in. If you want a quality education for your kids so that they can get ahead in life and realize the American dream, you're welcome in the America First movement. If you want a strong economy, world peace, and secure borders, and fully funded police departments, welcome.
Welcome. You mentioned journalism. Is journalism dead in this country?
I think in the mainstream media, you could make the argument that it is dead. There's a few good people out there still trying to do good work, but when you're working in one of these corporate newsrooms, corporate-run newsrooms, it's really hard because they have an agenda to take down this movement and take down President Trump and we the people. And so good journalists working for corporate news, it's really hard to do the work you need to do. But thankfully, we're seeing a resurgence of real journalism through independent journalists and some new outlets that are rising up and becoming more and more reliable for people to get information from. So I don't want to say journalism is dead. A few years ago, I would have said it's dead, it's gone. But I'm seeing this emergence of incredible journalists who just want to get the truth out. We want to save our country in the process.
Absolutely. Regarding the 2020 elections and 2022, do you think the issues we saw in those elections have been resolved, or we will see that again this November?
I hope we don't see it again, but I'm seeing signs of problems here and there throughout the country. We need to get our elections to where they're reformed and we've worked through the way so that no fraud can occur and only legal voters can vote. My opponent's not for that. He voted against the SAVE Act. He wants the millions of people who poured across to be able to vote. He is fine with election season where people vote for a month and they count for 2 weeks. I will tell you the American people aren't for that, and I know the people of Arizona aren't for that. They've seen enough with elections that are not run properly. We want honest elections that we can all have faith in. If you are the most liberal Democrat, I want your vote to count. If you are the most conservative Republican, I want your vote to count. And if you're somewhere in between, I want every legal vote to count. But I don't want fraudulent ballots to count. I don't want people here illegally voting. I don't want these voter rolls that are so stacked up with people who don't even exist anymore.
Absolutely.
We got to clean it up.
Absolutely.
People demand it.
Yeah, just two more questions, Kari. Regarding environmental policies, what is it that Arizona needs to do to make sure people have, water in some serious policies here to hope for a better life?
You mean environmentally, clean water, clean air? Well,
yes.
You know what? I'll tell you what we have to do. It's real basic. We've got to return manufacturing back to Arizona, back to America. And you might say, wait a minute, why would we want to do that? How would that help the environment? Well, we've watched as politicians have sold everything out. They've sold America out. They've sold our economy out. They've pushed, encouraged businesses to relocate overseas and do their manufacturing in places like China, India, where they don't follow environmental standards like we do. The best thing we can do is bring manufacturing back. It's a win-win situation. It's a win-win-win. It's a win for the company because President Trump's going to give them tax breaks to bring those companies back. It's a win for the American people. We're going to get good, high-paying jobs. And it's a win for the environment because we actually do follow standards to make sure that we're making sure that we're not polluting the air, polluting the water, unlike these other countries where they've shipped everything out to. So we got to work on that. And then when it comes to the water issue, that's a whole different issue. We've got to bring new water sources into the West. People are moving to the West. It's an attractive place to live. Everyone wants to be in the West. And we don't want to continue to just fight for drops of water in the Colorado River, fighting amongst each other to see who's going to get more water. We got to bring more water in. We can do it. We can put a man on the moon. We can build nuclear reactors. We can definitely bring fresh water in. We can pipe oil and gas around this country. We can certainly pipe water in. So whether that means we're piping water in from freshwater sources or we're desalinating water, we know there's plenty of water on the planet. We just need to get it here.
Okay.
And countries like Israel do desal. That's how they get all of their water. And so it's possible. We need to think big and we need to stop kicking the can down the road. It is an economic imperative that we do this. It's a national security issue. We need to have water. We've got to have water. And so we need to put this on the front burner instead of having it on the back burner and actually do something about it.
Okay, and my final question would be, we just saw Claudia Sheinbaum become the first female president in Mexico, right? I see politicians in Arizona meeting with elected officials in Mexico. Is that something that, if you get elected, will be willing to do on behalf also of the United States to tell them, stop the invasion, control your own border, and get your country?
100%. If President Trump were in office, this border would be secure. We wouldn't even be talking about the border. As a matter of fact, the border would be so secure, rather than looking at it as a negative, we'd probably in Arizona be looking at it as a positive with having a secure border, our proximity to Mexico, companies who want to reshore their companies back or nearshore them back. We would be benefiting from this. It would be a good thing, but not when it's wide open. People are pouring across unvetted. President Trump will work with Mexican officials to get some order back on our border. I'm sure that they're not enjoying having all of the chaoses in their country either. But more importantly than that, we're going to confront the cartels. My opponent will never confront the cartels. His own father was a Mexican drug trafficker for the cartels. How are you ever going to push back against these dangerous cartels, ruthless cartels, if you have familial connections to them. It's going to be impossible to do it. We need to confront the cartels. They're abusing people. They're trafficking children into sex trafficking, and 350,000 of them are missing and gone. As a mother, I lay awake at night praying for them and worrying about them. And then on top of it, the fentanyl, the weapon of mass destruction known as fentanyl, getting into the hands of our young generation, taking 100,000 people roughly a year, the carnage of all of that loss and mourning and sorrow when you lose a loved one across this country. It's not just in Arizona, it's all over the country. I'm willing to take them on. I'm willing to meet with Mexican officials. I know President Trump is. We will secure the border starting on minute one of day one. And we're going to get this border secure. We're going to stop this nonsense. But we've got to vote people like Ruben Gallego out. He's lied about everything in his past. He says he cares about women. He walked out on his wife, shocked her. She didn't see it coming. With divorce papers just a few days before Christmas. She's 9 months pregnant. He even said in the filing, she's going to give birth any day now. Served her with divorce papers. She had to deliver that baby on her own. And he ran off with a D.C. lobbyist. A D.C. lobbyist who he's now married to, and he's taking all of her special projects and funneling him into the Congress. He doesn't care about us. He cares about his wife's lobbying clients. And we've got to make sure he's nowhere near the U.S. Senate. He's got a history of harassing women, sexually harassing women, treating women terribly. And he spent $40 million in ads trying to say he cares about women. I, on the other hand, come from a family of women. I'm the youngest of 9. We have 8 girls in my family. I've got a daughter and many nieces, and I care deeply about women. And we're going to do everything we can to protect women and make sure that we're pushing policy in Washington, D.C. that is pro-family so that women who do choose to have a family have that support they need, so that families can get by easier without having to always feel like, I got to take on a second job, a little more work, maybe we can get ahead. You should be able to work one job in this country, work hard, and realize the American dream. We're going to get back to that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we wish you good luck.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure
Thank you very
to
much.
see you again.
Absolutely. My pleasure.